It's the Osceola's Seminole Sidelines. For more on the Seminoles, including Osceola's coverage from veteran Seminole insiders, message boards, Osceola virtual happy hours, and more, go to theosceola.com. And right now, enter the code FSU20 and get 20% off your annual subscription. That's FSU20.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Osceola Seminole Sidelines podcast. My name is Patrick Burnham. I'm a writer for the Osceola and the host of Seminole Sidelines. I'm also joined by the Osceola's managing editor, Bob Ferrante, and our special guest today is former FSU defensive tackle James Chaney, who played at Florida State from 1988 through 1991, and is now the head coach at Lehigh Acres High School in Cape Coral, Florida, where he coached defensive back Omarion Cooper, who signed with FSU this past December. James, thanks for taking some time out of your schedule to visit with us. And, of course, James also coached Omarion Cooper, and we will catch up with James a little bit about that. Omarion signed with FSU in December along with Shaheem Brown. We just talked to Brian Allen, James, who played linebacker at Florida State a couple of minutes ago. But first of all, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, man, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, you know, this podcast is mainly done for our subscribers, but it goes out to the general public. And a lot of our subscribers remember who you are. Obviously, neither one of us are as young as we used to be. We both came out of high school at the same time. But and what they like to know, James, was how did you end up at Florida State from Fort Myers High School? Everybody loves to hear the backstory about how you guys ended up in Tallahassee. So can you kind of give us a brief summary of how you ended up a Florida State Seminole?
Well, I mean, I was at North Fort Myers High School with Deion Sanders. Deion was a senior when I was a freshman in high school and in college. And, you know, really and truly, I found out about Florida State just, you know, kind of because Deion went there. And one summer we were working out, and one of my teammates' father, I had just finished my junior year, and really wasn't getting recruited at all. And one of my teammates' father asked me, did I want to ride to the Florida State camp? And I didn't know anything about no camp, so I was like, yeah, let me call my dad. And he said, okay. I said, I don't have no clothes. He said, don't worry about it. We'll stop somewhere along the way. So we get to Florida State. I get involved with the camp. I do really well. And your dad offered me a scholarship when I was walking out the dorm with my bags. My dad came and got me, and Coach Burnham ran up and said, hey, man, you got a scholarship here. You could, you know, we'll wait on you, you know, do what you got to do. And once he offered me that scholarship and it hit the paper and all that, I started getting other little stuff going on. But I always knew, you know, I wanted to be a Seminole. So,
yeah. Now, obviously, you had a great career at Florida State. Graduated, I believe, 91, if I'm not mistaken. You know, kind of tell us what's been going on with James Chaney since you graduated, and then obviously what drew you to coaching, how long you've been coaching, and all the great things that go along with it, and maybe even some of the not so great things that go along with coaching.
Well, I mean, my son, my middle son, who's at Valdosta State right now, I took him to play Tiny Mike's with the Cape Coral Junior organization. And, you know, I brought my lawn chair and I sat down and I was observing practice. And I kind of thought to myself, I said, God, I can't let my son start out like this. Because you had some guys out there volunteering, bless their heart. They were giving their time, and I won't knock them. But I was like, man, I can't do it. So I went out and volunteered, helped them finish the season, and then they made me the head coach the next season. And I've been coaching Pat for about 17, 18 years. In only 2 of those years, I haven't been a head coach. So after that first year at Tiny Mike's, I was always a head coach. Then I went to work for Ernest Graham at North Fort Myers High School, my alma mater, and I was his defensive line coach. And he applied for the Lehigh job, and the district kind of blocked it. So the principal said that she was looking for a minority head coach because it's a Title I school. And they were like, hey, would you interview for it? I say, yeah, it'd be good practice. I don't have the experience to be a head coach. So I think Dexter Carter interviewed for that job, a whole like 9 or 10 NFL guys, because the school always has athletes. And she picked me. And then I was at home. She called me and said, hey, I want you to be my head coach. I was like, I hung up the phone. It was like, shit, get on YouTube. I just started, winging it. And it's not much different from being a Pop Warner coach. It's just a bunch of orchestration. And I learned from the best, your dad and Coach Bowden and those guys. I kind of model my coaching style and behavior off them. And, 6 years later, I'm still here. So that's kind of how I got into coaching.
And obviously, you've mentioned, I believe, your oldest son at Valdosta, if I'm not correct, and one of your sons, and maybe your youngest son, just signed with Wisconsin. Tell us a little bit about what makes up the Chaney family unit these days.
Well, but the boys, man, they played for me in high school. I think the youngest always kind of gets the best of everything because they see everything. Jake, when I first came to Lehigh, Jake was in middle school. He was my ball boy, and we used to always put him on the other side, and he'd tell us what teams were talking about and what they were doing. He always had a football mind. And, he came here as a little scrawny dude and started growing, and he started at Mike linebacker for us his sophomore year, and he just grew into it. Bud was a running back. He went to Citadel, and then he transferred out and ended up at Valdosta State, great program. So, we're just a average, everyday football family. It may be harder on them because I'm a football coach, but I've always made this a point. I've never coached their position. And I've never been a coordinator over their position on their side of the ball. And I kind of did that on purpose. And I'm glad that God blessed me to be a head coach because I won't want to put them in that situation. I won't put myself in that situation. I'm totally hands off when it comes to them. And, I let my coordinators and coaches make the decision over the years when it comes to them. And I'm extra hard on them, just like, your dad was hard on you, just like Mickey was hard on his son. But, him going to Wisconsin and my other son in college, they've gotten all the mishaps and hiccups that I had in college and how I started out so bad academically. And, they understand that. They understand that some days they'll be at the bottom of the depth chart, some days they'll be on top. And that's what I prepare all my kids to do.
As the season has gone along, I have realized that if you took the sons of the players from the dynasty era that are at college football programs now, you could put together a pretty good team. You mentioned your youngest son just signed with Wisconsin. Robbie Baker's son is a freshman at North Carolina. Todd Fordham's son is committed to NC State. Jennings Jr. has gone to Maryland. Bruce Hegge's son is graduating from Florida, starting center. Dexter Carter's at Georgia Southern. Junior's at Georgia Southern. And Brad Johnson's son's at LSU. I miss it, and I know I'm missing people. It's quite amazing what the sons of the dynasty era are doing. So that is kind of amazing. But obviously, you mentioned being the head coach at Lehigh Acres. A lot of people, a lot of subscribers want to know, and a lot of listeners want to know about what kind of player, what kind of person Florida State is getting in Omarion Cooper, who signed with Mike Norvell in December.
Man, Omarion Cooper is a lockdown corner, man. Long kid, probably right at about 6'1". Deion Sanders kind of Omarion and kind of helped put him on the map. He had a Under Armour camp here, and he asked us to come out, bring some kids out to kind of work with his son. His son was throwing, and his other son that was playing DB. So we, a few schools brought some kids out, and he identified Omarion Cooper right away as a player, kind of took him under his wing and, took him into Texas and did some 7-on-7 stuff with him. So he's a tough kid, doesn't back down from anyone. And, I look forward to his development, at Florida State.
Yeah, well, I'm just glad that you didn't let Deion take him to Jackson, Mississippi. Thank you for protecting all Seminoles from that. Cause
he tried to get him, but
I'm sure he came down and gave him a heck of a pitch. I'm sure
he did.
All right, kind of what are his strengths as a player right now, and what are some of the things that he will need to work on once he arrives on campus?
He's a big time press man guy. He's really physical and aggressive. He can tackle really well. Doesn't shy away from that. I think some of the things he's going to have to work on is, playing off, playing zone. You know what I mean? He can run, but he's just a pit bull. You know what I'm saying? He's a pit bull sometimes, and sometimes I want him to back up and be a little more finesse, which he can learn and he can do. I know he won't have any problems with that. But, he's one of them guys, man, that bring an attitude to a defense. And I think a lot of times, man, that mental toughness and that confidence is what we're probably lacking a little bit right now in Tallahassee. And, I think he'll help improve that.
Yeah, he was kind of a higher profile recruit. FSU obviously has been in transition from, the second staff in the last 3 years. This will be Mike Norvell's second year. How did his recruitment kind of play out with Florida State? How did he ultimately decide that Florida State was going to be where he was going to sign?
Well, I never intentionally try to ever tell kids where to go. But what I do is, we talk about your top 5, top 3, and we talk about coaching stability. We talk about program, what's going on. We talk about people on the roster. And I try to help them make a educated decision on, where they want to go. How was the visit? How'd you like the city? It's been kind of tough with COVID, but Omarion got to visit Tallahassee 3 or 4 times. So the other schools that were involved, he never got to visit. You know what I mean? So we try to help the kids make, educated guesses on, where to attend school.
Yeah, now obviously, you're a guy that I know that pays attention to what's going on with the program up here. Kind of what are your overall thoughts on the job Mike Norvell is doing and where the direction of the program is going?
Well, I think Coach Norvell and the staff is doing well. Adam Fuller recruits our area. I know Adam Fuller from Memphis and Marshall. He's recruited our school over the years. And, I think the guys are doing a pretty good job. I have 2 4-stars at your school at Florida State. I also got Quayshawn Fuller.
That's right.
And, I get to talk to Quayshawn, and I talk to some other guys, and I talk to Odell, and I think from the outside looking in, I also talk to Clint all the time. From the outside looking in, I think Coach Norvell is steering the ship, and I'm a football guy, played football, I coach football, been around the game a long time. And you guys know as well as I do, this thing is going to take some time. Yep. It's not going to be an overnight quick fix. We are not fans. We don't look at it like a fan would look at it. Bless their hearts. I know they bleed garnet and gold, but I feel like this transition is going to take a little minute, not forever, but I think if I can see steady improvement over time, and by year 3 or 4, 5, we're like, hey, we're back in this race. And I know people don't like giving people that much time, but there was a lot of things broken, so I think it's going to take longer to fix it.
Yeah, the more football people I talk to, James, I tend to agree with you. This thing may be a little bit more than a couple of years, so they're solidly back where they're used to be, and I agree with you there. I want to go back kind of to your FSU experience. Looking back at your experience now, I think we've been out of school close to 25 years. That may be on the short side, which is hard to believe. But looking back now, what does your scholarship to Florida State mean to you now that maybe you didn't have an appreciation for when you were younger?
I have learned how to network. And, you wouldn't believe how many business cards I was given, walking into the atrium, and people see you in the mall. And, as a young man, when I graduated, I really didn't have, and I put it on Twitter, I didn't have any, they were trying to give me guidance, but I didn't listen. I was like, football. And the mistake I made at Florida State was I remained in the football bubble. I didn't venture out on campus. I didn't join any outside campus clubs. I didn't network with outside people, like I should have. And that's the advice I'm giving my sons. I'm like, look, if you stay in that football bubble, you're only going to get the benefits of football, which is great. But there's a whole wide round world out there, people who can help you with opportunities, and people who can help you in life. And that's probably one of the regrets I have of my Florida State experience.
Now, do you have any lessons that you learned either in the classroom or on the football field that you carry with you today as an adult?
Yes. I mean, first of all, you start out fast academically. I mean, it's so easy in college to get behind to where you can't get back out. Now, that was when I went to school. Now, even high school now is totally different. They let you turn in work late. They let you assignment late. Back in them days, you wasn't turning in nothing late. You get a zero. And a bunch of us ended up in that dean's office that first spring. Getting a fast academic start. Also, you're not going to be first team every day. And I started pouting, I started out fast, I didn't get redshirted. I started like 3 games my freshman year, and I don't think I was like 17 years old. I didn't turn 18 until November of my freshman year. So my sophomore year slowed down a little bit. Then I got into the little pouty stage. But then, one day I just started dressing better. I started working out harder. I just showed up every day. I was like a roach. They couldn't get rid of me. And it turned out better for me. It turned out I ended up a team captain. I was a starter for a couple years, and it was great. You know what I'm saying? But it was all based on my mindset. And I'm heavy with kids now on mindset, body language, energy. That makes the world of difference. And I started being trustworthy. Coach Amada could say, hey, man, he's going to be on time. He's going to be in that weight room. He's going to be taking care of business. I don't have to chase him to class. That's the important things. And a lot of kids talk about politics. Oh, it's political. They're going to play their favorites. Well, my favorites are guys who go to class and who lift weights and who give effort on the field and who go get treatment. Those are my favorite guys. And I'm going to play them, and I don't care what your mama says. So that's, the major lessons I learned while at Florida State.
All right. Well, hey, listen, we're going to end this with have a little bit of fun. We're going to play a word association. So I want to give you a word or a name, and I just want you to say the first words or sentences that come to your head. So we'll start with an easy one. Bobby Bowden.
Bobby Bowden. One of the greatest men I ever met.
Chuck Amato, who was your position coach.
Tough. I'll tell you a funny story about Chuck Amato. I gotta say this. I didn't start out with a bang at Florida State, and probably my senior year, we had a defensive line meeting, and Chuck said, hey guys, I got something to say. He said, James Chaney, I want to apologize to you. He said, I didn't redshirt you because I wanted you out of here. He said, but you fought your way through this, and once I let you on the field, you wouldn't let nobody take you off. And he said, you guys, I'm gonna say it in front of you. I apologize to you for that. You're one of the best players I ever coached. And that meant so much to me at the time. And Tucamato will always be near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, he was a tough coach, and when you get a compliment like that from him with some of the players that obviously have come through this program over the last 30 years when he was there, that's an impressive statement. And you were part of an impressive list of vertically challenged nose guards that came through Florida State.
Yes, sir.
I think Chuck just liked having someone shorter than he was to yell at. And so you, Todd Stroud, Enzo Armella are all guys I know that would see eye to eye with Chuck that Chuck didn't have to look up to. So,
yes, sir.
But it was kind of a rare run of smaller nose guards that they had there. Okay, so all right, Miss Betty's Kitchen.
Fried chicken on I think it was Wednesday night was fried chicken, and I think was it Friday?
Yeah,
Either
Friday. Wednesday was family night, so it was steak and shrimp.
Steak and shrimp. That's right. Yep. That's right. Fried chicken and Pasco.
Yep, Tabasco. All right, Jimmy Callaway, dearly departed Jimmy Callaway.
You don't need no more gloves. You don't need no more shoes. The shoes you got are perfectly fine.
And that sounds like him.
God bless the dead.
Yeah, he was certainly quite the character. Well, James, I know
I got in trouble. I got in trouble with Jimmy with Mark Rick because Mark Rick was there when I first got there, and I had a verbal altercation with Jimmy Callaway, and Coach Rick had to the side like, you don't do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But anyway, man, I was a bad boy sometime, but mostly I was cool.
Hey, we were all young once. We all made mistakes. And most of our mistakes were minor compared to some. So, but hey, James, we appreciate you joining us. I know you got a workout to get to, and thanks for the insight into Omarion. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Hey, thanks, fellas. Bob, thank you. Pat, thank you for having me, man. And I'll join you guys anytime. I appreciate it.
This has been another edition of the Osceola's Seminole Sidelines. To subscribe to the Osceola, go to theosceola.com. And right now, enter the code FSU20 and get 20% off your annual subscription. That's FSU20.